baseball team. Today, Jay's here to discuss communication on the baseball team. We're going to discuss 3 different ways to communicate. The first one is interpersonal communication, which involves 2 or more people. The second way of communicating is with nonverbal communication, in which you use nonverbal cues. The third one is intrapersonal communication, which is like self-talk. Jay, let's start with nonverbal communication. Can you tell us a little bit about what goes on between the pitcher and the catcher?
The pitcher and the catcher have several ways of communicating, by signs, by locations, several things like that. Normally we kind of have an idea of what we want to do as far as what pitch we want to throw, but Blake, our catcher, he'll give us maybe some ideas of him, or maybe even from the dugout itself, and kind of let us know through his signs and through his actions kind of what pitch to throw.
Okay, and what about hitting signs? How do y'all discuss that?
Hitting signs through nonverbal, it's our third base coach. He kind of gives us signs from the dugout. Our head coach they kind of talk literally without saying a word through their gestures and their signs themselves, and they allow the hitter to understand exactly what he wants him to do in his job at task.
Okay, and what about pitching location signs? Is that nonverbal?
It is. It's he'll set up. It's called a decoy, which we do a lot here, and he'll set up inside. Necessarily, if he sets up inside to begin with, it's going to be an outside pitch. He always tries to kind of not trick the hitter, but more like deceive the hitter as far as not allowing them exactly where he's set up.
Okay. Okay, and what about verbal communication? How do y'all decide who's going to catch a pop fly?
Through pop fly communication, normally the first person who calls it, it's their responsibility to catch the ball. If you call it, essentially it's yours. And as other players, me being a pitcher, if I hear someone else call the ball, I'm not going to get in their way at all. It's kind of theirs. They do their job at hand. Okay, and
do y'all do the same thing with bunts?
Well, really, bunts, our catcher will call it like a bunt play, and that's actually verbal. He's going to tell us exactly what the coach wants him to do, and whether it be a number, whether it be a color, we do several different things as far as what colors we're actually going to run during that bunt play.
Okay, and then the last thing on verbal, what about pitchers and covering bases?
That's a huge part of our game as pitchers. It's not necessarily just throwing the ball to the hitter. We communicate with the first baseman, whether like a bunt play, we have to cover first base. We communicate with the shortstop a lot, where the runners are on base. We communicate with the catcher verbally as well, as far as he'll give you kind of feedback as far as how the pitches beforehand have went, and kind of your mindset of how you want to attack the next hitter.
Okay, great. And then the last one is self-talk, which is intrapersonal communication. Do you do any of that?
On the mound, I do a lot of self-talk. Tell myself to relax, tell myself to stay focused, stay positive, no matter how my outing's going. I always tell myself to execute the pitch and keep the ball down in the zone, which I know if I tell myself and keep myself calm, I know I'll execute a pitch, and I know I'll do exactly how I'm supposed to if I go out there and keep myself calm.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jay. You've been so informative.
This is an example of verbal communication in a pop fly. This is an example of what happens when you don't communicate during a pop fly. This is an example of nonverbal communication between the pitcher and the catcher.